Hello, everyone. We're just going to wait about 30 or 40 seconds so people can join us and come into the room, and we'll be good to go shortly. So I'm going to wait just a couple more seconds before we begin the presentation. And I'm so glad everybody's joining us today. So I'm excited about this one. My name is Linda Griffian, and I want to thank you for joining the webinar today. I am the Education Programs Coordinator for Business Link, and very excited to bring our speaker in to talk to you today. We're going to be on an hour-and-a-half timeline, and I'm going to quickly just go through a few housekeeping items as well as do the land acknowledgement. So a couple of things. At Business Link, we are honored to provide services to all entrepreneurs and specialty services to our immigrant and Indigenous entrepreneurs. We are inclusive in our cultural understanding and awareness of the histories of our country. With that, we will start this event with a land acknowledgement to recognize all of Alberta. We want to acknowledge that in the province of Alberta, we are situated on the traditional territories of Treaties 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10, ancestral homeland of diverse First Nations group, Métis, and Indigenous people whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial, and whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community. We pay respects to the Indigenous people of this land, past, present, and future, while recognizing their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationship to the land on which we reside. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today, the Financially Fierce Wake Up Call, presented by Tanya Woods Richardson, who will be just diving right in with you. So she'll give a brief introduction of herself, then she's going to dive in, and there's going to be lots and lots of goodies available to you at the end of this presentation, as well as we're going to encourage lots of questions throughout. So we'll be taking questions throughout. You can insert your questions into the chat box and type those in, and we'll be happy to get to those, as well as inserting links into the chat box as well for you to use as you go throughout. We do not share the slides to presentations with Business Link. However, within 2 to 3 business days, we will be posting this recording along with all the other webinar recordings that you can see from our past few months with Business Link. So please do check out the webinar recordings at businesslink.ca/resources. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Tanya today. Go ahead and take it away, Tanya, if you're ready.
Oh, Linda, thank you for being here. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you everybody for being here. We're talking numbers today, not everybody's favorite subject. I always make the comment that I'm sure a lot of you would prefer to go to the dentist for a root canal versus being here to actually drill into the numbers. But so important that you're doing it. It takes a lot of courage to show up. So again, thank you for making the time to catch this important webinar. All right, I do have a colleague on the call today. Her name is Christina. You're going to see her in the chat here. If you have any questions about anything that I'm going through or links as we're doing this, you can always reach out to Christina there as well, and she'll be posting links. I see that she's just posted a chat here. So she's got my back, because I have a hard time multitasking, I think, like many founders too, right? So I want to be here for you today focused. I'm also just going to say that I'm usually used to seeing all of your beautiful faces on this call, because I love to read body language, and I love to see where you might be dropping off, what you get really excited about. So unfortunately, I can't do this today. So please light up the chat. Let me know what's landing with you. Let me know where you're stuck. Let me know if you're overwhelmed. And please, 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 by all means, if you have a question as we're going through this, just post it. Let's talk about it. Again, Christina's here. She'll pull that question. She'll be able to stop me. Maybe Christina send me a text if I'm rambling, right? Let me know, wait, hold up, check your chat. Because we want to make sure that we're showing up for you today on the number front. So I'm actually going to leave my introduction here for just a little bit, because you'll see how it actually ties into the work that we're going to be doing today. Before I move into I'm actually going to put up a slide deck, because I was telling Linda, it's going to be really awkward for me to talk to myself the next hour and a half. So I am going to pull up a presentation. I'm not usually fond of presentations, but I think it'll help you as we go through this as well, versus just seeing my hand language. But before we get started, I just want to make sure that the vast majority of you on this call are your business owners, your entrepreneurs, right? Just like light it up. Let's test those little digits, your hands here. Just say yes, yes, yes. If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, come on, let it. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Okay. We're getting moving. Good. Second question I have for you. When you started your business, can you please tell me what your intent was? Was it A, to make money, B, to have an impact, or C, both of those? Both of those. So put M for money, put I for impact, or put B for both. Light up the chat. Both, I, impact, money, both, impact, both, money. Awesome. Okay, thank you guys for like lighting up that chat. I love to see the participation. This is great. Okay, now sometimes we get some crickets here, but now I'm going to ask you, if that was your intention in starting the business, can you please put in to the chat what your goal was? So define how much money you wanted to make in your business and define what impact you wanted to have. Let's put that in the chat. It's a little tougher, right? We moved from easy question, a little tougher, and now we're on our tier 3. Put in the chat what your goal was. How much money, what impact? Not sure about the goal. 1 million in 12 months, 100,000 a year, 65,000 a year. Anybody else? 80K, a foundation. I love that. That's beautiful. 100K, 20 clients, 1 million. Okay. Have you noticed a theme? That the theme is all really round numbers. Now, I know I asked you to throw a number in here, and that's great, and I'm glad you did. If I was working with you one-on-one, I would ask you to defend that number. Why 100,000? Why 80? Why 65? Right? Why the foundation? I would ask you to defend it, because here's the thing. So now I am going to switch to my playbook. I'm actually just going to, Linda, can I ask, I see some hands up. Are there any questions or no? I see 2 hands up. Any idea? Or people waving?
I can't tell
Not
on
sure.
my end
Okay.
if,
All right.
if I see hands up, but do use the opportunity to chat in the chat if
Perfect.
you do have questions, folks.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to dig right in here, because now you get to follow along with some of my slides as we go along here. Okay. So here's the thing, is that in entrepreneurship, this is really I'm going to get a little Debbie Downer later on, but this is my first Debbie Downer moment, and there's only going to be 2 or 3 Debbie Downer moments in this presentation. But the reality is that 87% of business owners fail in business. They fail their business, they close the doors, whatever that looks like. They fail because of poor financial management. They're not managing their money in business. So for all of you that wanted to make money, right? The reality is, this is the reality, and I'm sharing this because I want you to know that you're not alone. The reality is that for most business owners, the business is costing them money, not making them money. And it's compromising them financially at home. So you may be having impact on the clients that you serve, but the reality is that for 87% of founders, they have a negative impact being experienced at home. Right? So can that just land with you for a moment? Most of you wanted to start the business for money and impact. Most of you are here because the business is costing you money and there's a negative impact at home. So I am so excited to work with you today, because today, June 22nd, this is actually a powerful number, right? June 22nd, 2022, this is the first day of your new financial future. For many of you, this is the first time that you have ever done the work that we're about to do today. And as uncomfortable as this work is going to be, you need to see it to actually forge a new path for yourself. You need to see the reality of the situation so you know what you need to create. This marks the brand new day for all of you. So I want to go a step further on this, on the reason why business owners fail, because yes, 87% fail because of poor financial management. However, the one fix, the one number that would fix all the problems, regardless of you being undercapitalized, not having enough sales, the expenses are too high, you're not able to hire people, the one number that would fix everything is your net profit, net profit. So sales minus direct costs minus indirect costs, also known as operating expenses, equals net profit. If you were to build up that net profit, that would solve all of your problems, all of them. So with that being said, in my space of working with entrepreneurs for the past 30 years, there's actually a bigger problem behind this. The financial numbers are the effect of the situation, but the true cause of the situation is what I call the gap. It's like you guys have cheat sheets over here. You see exactly what it is that I'm about to present on for all you founders that are one step ahead. So it's actually the gap that is causing the failure. And here's what I mean by gap. The gap, the G stands for you don't have the goal. So I thank all of you for throwing in. A lot of you did have the goal, right? You said, okay, I've got 100,000. I'm going to make $1 million in 12 months. I'm going to do the 65. You had the goal. So for those of you that don't have the goal, we're going to show you how to do that. For those of you who had a goal, awesome, kudos. But the A stands for alignment. Why is that goal important to you? Do you remember when I asked you, I said, I want you to be able to defend the goal now. Why is that goal important to you? The only way you make a goal happen is if you're emotionally motivated to make it happen, right? And it's got to be like tooth and nail, because there's going to be garbage that comes up every week that we have to deal with. So unless you're emotionally attached and aligned with the goal, the reality that that goal is going to happen, it starts to dwindle, right? It's not there. And then the P actually stands for plan. So you might have the goal, you might be emotionally aligned with the outcome, but then you don't have the plan. Can you put into the chat right away? I just want to see how many of you are feeling stuck right now. How many of you are feeling stuck in your business, in your financial situation? You don't know what to do. You don't know who to market to. You're feeling like you're powerless. You're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Me. Yes. Yep. Definitely stuck. Awesome. Okay. You're stuck because you're not taking action. That's why you're stuck. It's the true definition of the word. And it's because you don't have the gap filled out. You don't have the goal. You're not emotionally aligned to it, and you don't have the plan. Once you have the plan, you just work the plan, right? So that's what we're going to do today. We're actually going to fill the gap for you. I'm going to show you how it all comes together. All right. Okay, so before we dive into that, I want to show you why this is so important. Today, we're actually talking about personal finances, believe it or not, because I hope you all knew you were signing up for personal finances. Maybe you did, maybe you did not, but I'm going to tell you why this is so critical. Because the way that you are dealing with your money in your business, either not making it or overspending it, or just not allocating it in the right locations, it's a mirror of how you are managing your money at home. How you're managing your money at home is reflective in how you manage your money in business. So basic outline of personal finances, we have our spend pillar, our save pillar, our share pillar, our invest pillar. These pillars rest on the foundation of earning. Super, super simple. Just to clarify, spending is on needs. I think all of us know this. This is 101, right? Despite the increase in financial literacy, Canadians are getting worse and worse and worse with their money every year. So let's just dial in. Spending, needs, wants, debt. We overspend as Canadians, $1.74 for every dollar that we make, and all of that 74 cents is typically going onto our credit cards. Saving, just to be clear, we do not save to spend. Saving is our emergency blanket. It is our safety net. It's what's there to have our back in the midst of global pandemics, uh, typhoons, tornadoes, forest fires, like our world, like we got to get the savings set up, right? Sharing is causes, right? Like philanthropy, it's tithing, it's, we want to give for social impact, but it's also taxes. Taxes are social impact. And then we have investing. And the premise of investing is money making money for you. Priority number one for retirement. Investing, the first priority is to make sure that you have enough come retirement. Then you start to like, oh, what's going on with crypto? What's going on with corn, right? Then you start to have fun with it, but you need to get dialed in on your retirement first. So this is basically 101 of personal finance. What we're supposed to do is we're supposed to understand, what do we need for spending and to get out of debt? What do we need for saving, sharing, investing? And then that is supposed to inform how much we need to earn. We're in a society where we do what we can with what we make. We've got it backwards. We're supposed to make what we need to make to do what needs to be done, right? So just a little mind game there for you. So here's the reality of your situation, likely today. This is the reality of founder finance. So as a founder, most of you, and I say this with love, because as Linda knows, this was my situation. So I can speak this because I live this. And again, I do it with love. But most of us have either put business expenses on credit cards. We have secured a line of credit to start our business. We've taken out personal loans, right? And by the way, you'll see it over here. Most lenders these days do not lend without a promissory note. If it's debt lending, they want to know that in the event that the business can't repay the loan, you personally are going to repay it. So we've got this pillar now compromised. Many of us have wiped out our savings to start up our business or have wiped it out through COVID. So that pillar's compromised. Sharing, most founders, in my experience, quite honestly, are not setting aside their tax money every month to pay CRA at the end of the year. You're barely just bringing in enough money to scrape by month to month. So now this pillar is compromised. And you're investing. This was my story. I actually cashed out the equity of my house, put it in a business where the model wasn't working. The financial model did not work. I'd actually cashed in my RRSPs because I'm like, boom, I've got the, I got the next great ideas. And then of course, as we talked about, you've got promissory notes and liens. And then the foundation, as we mentioned, most of you are not earning what you need to be earning. Best case scenario. So now you've got this rocky situation personally. And then as founders, we think it's a brilliant idea to now put a business on top of this. It's just like, okay, now I'm going to build a business, right? Like, let's just put it on top of this foundation. So unfortunately, because I converted this to PDF, this beautiful little graphic does not turn into the video that I had, but you can imagine what's going to happen to this building if I hit play and you build a business on top of a financially unstable foundation. Personally, it all collapses. It all just goes down. That's what goes down. It goes down. It goes down. Anybody with me on this? The chat's quiet. Tell me if any of this is resonating for you. I told my accountant, agreed. Just join. No, yeah, I'll show you how to get the slides. Absolutely, Wilma. Tell me if this is landing with you. Can you just be honest? I know finance isn't fun. It feels familiar. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. There's no shame in this. I'm telling you my story, right? I'm telling you it because I know that 87% of founders are failing for this reason. All right. So this is exactly what happened to me. This is exactly what happened to me. And I'm just going to mention that, and Linda knows me from these days. So before I started it was my third business in 2002. I wasn't a shrinking violet. I helped to start up Bell Canada. I was employee number 2. I had helped to start up Shaw Cable, their broadband division, their startup division. I was employee number 6 on that one. I had budgets of $52 million. So I thought I knew how to handle money, right? I thought I got this. I started up my company Powerhouse in 2002. On the exterior, it looked pretty good. It was making good revenue. We had 14 team members. We had 2,500 members. We were going into Kelowna. It was a support system in an oil and gas town for small business owners, getting lots of media attention. But what nobody knew is that I'd been dying a slow death from the day that I started the darn business because I hadn't been paying myself. I had secured like $250,000 in angel investment, but it went out as quickly as it came in. All of this to tell you that in 2009, 1 year after 2008, I went down. I went belly up, like gone. And it is because my financial model was broken. It was actually broken from day one, but nobody caught it. Not the accountants, not the bookkeepers, not the bankers, not the angel investors. The fact, the more money I made in the business, the deeper the deficit in my net profit. The model, I call it the messy middle. The messy middle is where I was losing all of the money. And the more revenue, the deeper the deficit. So 2008 came along like it did for many businesses. It wiped me out. Just like COVID came along, COVID did not cause any financial fragility. COVID didn't cause it, it exposed it. That's all that happened. It said you were financially fragile going into this, and now there's nowhere to hide. So that was the opportunity to fix it. You have an opportunity right now. Please hear this. Debbie Downer moment number 2, sorry, and then I think this is it. By all accounts, I'm not a fortune teller, but if you've been reading the news, you have likely been hearing that the next 5 years are going to be tough. Interest, inflation, supply chain, labor, fuel, war. You have to start this process now. When you start dialing in on your numbers now, you lengthen your runway. It gives you more time to get your financial footing under you to be able to deal with economic crisis. So if you need urgency, because as human beings, we do need urgency to get stuff done, this is your wake-up call. Do these numbers now. Everybody with me on that? Thumbs up, chats. Okay, let's see. I want to see. Oh, yes. Okay, good. That's landing. Okay, so the last piece I just want to mention with this is that at the same time, my husband was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He stage 2, he had 2 weeks to live. We found out we were having our baby girl, Sophie, and his business was going bankrupt at the same time. He had a Ducati dealership, huge revenues, but servicing debt was a nightmare. So all of this was happening at the same time. We pretty much moved to Saskatchewan. We tried to catch our breath and go, what the heck? And so it was in 2010 that I was actually able to have the presence of mind to go back and say, what went wrong? What went so wrong? How could I have been cash flow positive, but bottom line poor? Where did this all happen? Where did it go? Where did it go so wrong here? So that is when I started to understand how to build financial models. I actually took numerous courses to be able to understand modeling. And here's the thing, I just want this to land for everybody. You have to know what you're building, and then you reverse engineer it. You have to start at the end. If you think about anything in your life, a vacation, a house, a car, anything that you have successfully attained, it's because you knew what the end was going to look like and you worked it back. That's what financial modeling is. It's about what does the end need to look like, work it back, how do I go from where I am and then get there. So that's what I learned how to do. And then in 2011 to 2014, I got to see behind the curtain. I became a lender. I was working with Futurepreneur. Again, our paths crossed again, Linda and I. I also got retained by BDC. I was working with Angel Networks. I was working with NACO, the Crowdfunding Association. I got to look at thousands of business plans, thousands of cash flow forecasts, and thousands of credit reports. And that's when I realized it's not just me. This is an epidemic that's been killing founders. And that's when I started to understand the math of the 87% failure rates. So long story short, in 2014, I got my soapbox out and I started getting my megaphone out and I'm like, wake up everybody, like you gotta dial in on the numbers. The bookkeeper enters in the data. The accountant mitigates and minimizes your taxes. You own the numbers. You're responsible for the decisions that you make with them. So that's what today, what we're actually going to do is we're going to get you started on understanding what numbers do you need to aim for. We've got 3 wake-up calls today. We've got 1, the rate of return that you have been making on your business investment. Wake-up call number 2 is your burn rate, AKA how much money do you actually need to be bringing home every month. And wake-up call number 3 is the end game. What do you actually need to build? Because most of you with your business, right, again, oh, 100,000, we've got $1 million over here. I want you to know, when we work together, I want you to know I am building a business that is going to be worth $1.346 million in 3 years by having this impact on this group of people through these services. Like, you've got to dial it in. And then you got to figure out why that's important to you. But today you're going to know at least the baseline, why that's important to you. All right. So out of curiosity, Linda, does everyone have worksheets or no? No worksheets. Okay, that's actually, this is good, everybody, because worksheets, I think you get off easy with the worksheets because you think the work is done after you've done the worksheet and you haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg with the worksheet. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do this right now because I want all of you to have access to it. So we have a code. I'm not selling anything. This is all free and I got Linda's buy-in to do this, but I want you to do your numbers. This is my gift to you. Please do your numbers. So what you're going to do, Christina, if you can help me, there's the link, and I can't copy and paste this right now, I don't think. No. So Christina's got the link to the wake up call in the Academy. When you get there, you're going to see the screen. I want you to hit buy. Don't worry, but here's the code. So it's all free for you. Because what you're going to get on the other side of this are all the calculators that are going to help you with these numbers. And I'm going to show you some of the calculators that you get to work with. So if we go ahead, Linda.
And just to clarify for everyone, this is so that you can access the worksheets and the calculators today. So we've opened up what's normally, thank you for Business Link clients. We've opened what's normally a paid-for service with Tanya to our Business Link clients so that you can access these calculators and access these worksheets, because you're going to need them for today and to use future with Tanya as well. We have a question. Thanks. Do we press the free preview or?
No, you're going to go into buy. You have to go into buy because your free preview is not going to get you your calculators. Okay. Right? It's not going to get you your calculator. So what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is I'm going to get you to take notes right now, because I think the worksheets that the worksheets are typically, again, for a high level boot camp, and they're going to be more confusing. So just get a scrap piece of paper for now and follow along and do the math with me. Don't try to find the worksheets right now, because that's going to, we're founders, right? We're butterfly chasers. And we were like, where's the worksheets? And then you're going to get all distracted for half an hour trying to find worksheets. So get a blank piece of paper and just follow along and do the math with me. That's all I'm going to ask you to do right now. So wake up call number 1 is our return on investment. And so I'm actually going to open up this so you can see the math. And here's my rule of thumb, like quick and dirty. This actually, if you want, on the back of your sheet of your paper, say action items, and then just say, okay, these are things I need to follow up on. Don't get stuck in perfectionism on this call. This is something all founders do. I hate to stereotype, but especially women. Like I've got to dial in on that number, right? Don't get stuck on this right now. Do not. Let's just get it down. So the first piece of math that I want you to do is I want you to figure out what has been your investment into the business so far. So we're going to calculate both time and money. So when it comes to time, most of you probably don't even know how much time you've put into the business. So I want you to rough this out, because you probably haven't been processing timesheets. Nobody tells you to do that at the beginning. So here's what you're going to do. I want you to roughly estimate how many hours you work per week. Okay, 40 is full-time. Are you 40? Are you 60? Are you part-time? Just put it in there. Rough numbers, quick and dirty. Don't overthink it.
Are you 180 hours a week? I don't know. I've been there. And be real. I'll just be honest with people too. I've had a few businesses. I still have one myself, And one of the walls that you tend to hit in your business is I thought I was starting a business so I could, also have some free time and go golfing and do those nice things as well. And other people would be working for me. I actually thought I would be sort of like Martha Stewart, and I would just kind of blow through the door and go, oh, hello, employees. And they're all doing stuff. And I would like leave for my vacation in the Caribbean or something like that. But you do hit that point in your business where you're probably at 60 to 80 hours a week. So be real about that too.
It is. The average is 60, right?
Yeah,
With all the studies, the average is 60 for most founders. So put that number in.
So
Easy.
typically you're having frustration over money, but you're also having frustration over time. So that's a bit of a dual killer, especially as you enter year 2, 3, and 4 in your business. You're starting to go, man, I had no idea I'd have to spend this much time. So just be real there.
Just be real. On that note, in 2014, I got into the study of behavioral finance and neuroeconomics, studying with some of North America's finest on this topic. And I'm just going to share this with you. I just want this to land with everybody here. Time equals love equals money. So the way our brain is wired, our relationship with time, our relationship with money, and our relationship with love, appreciation, with others, with ourselves, they're all going to mirror each other. It's fascinating. If you want a side experiment, write down your write down your relationship with time. Is it hard to come by? Is it busy? Are you stressed out about it? Is there never enough? Right? And then you'll see, oh my gosh, money, it stresses me out. There's never enough. It's hard to come by. And appreciation. People stress me out. I'm doing too much for them. It's right. Like it tends to mirror. It's fascinating, but we'll get into that another time. Okay. So coming back here, how many hours per week? And then how much do you pay yourself? What is the rate per hour? So let's just stop there for a second, because most of you are going to say, I don't pay myself, or I don't know, I pay myself $16 an hour. You're just scraping by. Most of you haven't even calculated what your true hourly rate is, because you're just taking what the business can afford you when it can afford to pay you. So when we're working together, one of the first things we do is we get you to go to ziprecruiter.com. We get you to find a fair founder salary. But for now, if you were to make $75,000 a year as a general manager in your business, that would be $36 an hour. Okay, so we're just going to keep it simple for now. If you feel like you deserve more money than $75,000 a year, adjust your hourly rate. If you're feeling less, adjust your hourly rate. It's always fascinating because these decisions tell us a lot about our mindset, right? And the value that we think we offer. So then you're going to multiply these two and you're going to get total investment of time per week. So in this case, it's $1,440. Pretty easy, right? Hours worked times what you think is a fair rate equals how much money in investment in time. Then a little trickier, but follow along. If the business, and don't try to make it perfect, if the business in this example is already paying me $1,000 per week, I'm going to put the difference down here. So just calculate the difference. If the business, however much you need to be earning or however much that investment of time is, subtract how much the business is actually paying you per week. For some of you, it might be nothing. For some of you, it might be 500. Whatever the difference is, you're going to grab that number and bring it down. The last number you're going to do here under investment of time is I want you to figure out roughly how many weeks you've been working in this business. 156 is 3 years. There's 52 weeks a year. So just roughly put it in. You're going to multiply those two, and that will get you your total investment of time, right? $68,000. Again, don't overcomplicate it. Just put it on your action plan if you really want to dial in on these numbers. Certainly doesn't hurt to have these numbers, especially if you're looking for money going forward.
We do have a question on where the 440 came from. So that came from line 1.
Yeah. So if my investment of time is 1,400, the business is paying me 1,000. So that means that the 1,000 minus the 1,440 equals a balance of 1,440 that the business owes me. Did not pay me that. It paid me the 1,000, but it did not pay me the 440. So that's where
Okay.
that number is coming from.
So that's the calculation of all the time you worked minus whatever you didn't pay yourself for the time you worked.
Exactly.
Is the 440. So if you worked a huge amount of time, that equaled $1,440 per week, but your company is only paying you $1,000 per week, that difference is the 440.
There you go.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. And so then we multiply it by number of weeks worked, right? And then we get our total value of time invested. So we got a rough number on there. Then we go into investment of our money. So again, don't overcomplicate it, but roughly, this isn't loans. How much money have you personally invested in the business? Right? So over time, think about, the web domains and the filings and the incorporation and the subscriptions, and just kind of piece that together to get a rough number. And when you add those together, you're going to get your total investment in of time and money, $98,640. Everybody good? Everybody with me? All right. So when we do that now, what I want, this is the wake-up call. Most of you are not going to have these numbers right now, but this is why on the other end of this, we get to do a challenge together. I'm going to share that with you at the end of this. Well, I'm going to share it with you in the next step, because I know you're going to get overwhelmed when I show you the next step. So I'm going to tell you about the challenge so that you can just take the bricks off your shoulder and go, oh, okay, they're there to catch us on the other side of this. So here's the wake-up call for all of you that I really want this to land for you. If you take your total sales last year, and if you're startup, this won't apply to you, but this lesson needs to land for you going forward. If you take your total sales last year, and then you take your net profit, so total sales of 100,000 with a net profit of 2,000. Now, unfortunately, most of you don't know your net profit. You wait until 4 months after year end to see the accountant statements, right? And then you're like, oh, didn't have the profit I was hoping for, right? When we work together, you know every week what your net profit is. So in this case, you would take your 2,000 and you divide it by the 100,000 in sales, which now turns your net profit into a percentage. We want to see it as a percent, not a dollar value. You'll be amazed when you start converting your numbers into percentages, how everything starts to make sense. So here's what I need you to hear. This is the important piece. 82%, interesting, the correlation, 87% failure, 82% of businesses are generating less than a 2% net profit. Less than a 2% net profit. Most of the founders that I work with, when they come in, they go, oh, I'm at 2%, I'm at 3%, I'm at 4%, and they're proud of it, and they should be. But then I ask them, oh, founder, does that include a fair founder salary for yourself? Does that include your wages? And then most founders will say, no, right? That doesn't include the wage. So then we have to subtract the wage from that 2,000, and now we end up in a deficit position. Again, this was my story. So here's why this is a wake-up call for you. You could have gone to the bank in this example. If I'm 98,000 in, all of you could have gone to the bank last year with your investment of time and money here, because again, that money you didn't make. You could have been getting that money working for somebody else. You could have been making that money through the business if you had planned to make that money. You could have gone to a bank and you could have put it into an investment. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm going to speak to my experience with investments. I put it in index funds. Index funds last year were getting a return of anywhere from 4 to 28.99%. If you Google investment funds with Wealthsimple, Canadian top investment funds last year, you're going to see the return on investment. So the wake-up call is you could have taken that money, for 10 minutes worth of work, you could have put it into an index fund and you could have made 4 to 29% for 10 minutes worth of work. Most of you are choosing, you don't know that you're choosing it, but this is why it's a wake-up call. Most of you are choosing to invest in a lousy investment, an investment that isn't getting you a return on money. You have choices, and most of you are choosing the investment that's losing you money every year, year over year over year, and the time and energy that you put into it. Does that land with anyone? Can you just like put it in the chat? Let me know if that landed there. Yes, 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 good. Yes, wow, thank you, good. Please, like this is, again, I do this with love, but really if I could like grab you by the lapels if you were wearing a suit, it's like, please, it's sad, it is. I did this too, right? We have to start making better choices. How do we put it in? You know what, that's a great question, Island. We have to start small. And I'm going to show you that. Again, I'm not a financial investor, but we did have a financial investor come into our group, and the financial investor said, there is no investment better than your business when you do it properly. And that's what I'm going to show you how you would do that. When you actually set out to build your business into an investment, you can make this happen for yourself. You just have to get over yourself. That it's us that is the biggest block. And I'm going to show you how that all happens. Okay, what is the B and E on the, oh, it's up here, sorry. So it's your B is the total in your total investment of time, and E over here, you can't see it, sorry, on the worksheets you could, but E is your total investment of capital. So total investment of time plus total investment of capital equals your total investment in.
On your screen, Jenny, if you just scroll up a bit, we can't see B and E.
Sure.
We only, we just need to see you
Oh.
there. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
It's going down.
So this is your B, 68,000. This is your E, 30,000. Okay.
And just
Again,
on another note about, a really good investment in the world is your own business. It's another great hedge against inflation. Just to let everyone know, if you understand that stock markets go up, stock markets go down, cryptocurrencies crash, things happen. But one thing you do have control over is what you're doing with your own business and how you can do it. So that's why this stuff is so important, because it's all buried in your financials, how you can take that control. So it is an inflationary fighter as well to have your own business if you're managing it the way you need to manage it.
Absolutely. But I have to say, you have to dial in, right? Like I put it in the chat right now. How many of you have already adjusted your prices for inflation, for fuel, for direct costs? Like throw it in the chat. Have you made that decision to actually put that out there? Yep. Okay, good. Good. Not me. Yes, 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 yes. Not yet. Okay. Every day that you wait to adjust your price, you're hemorrhaging your bottom line. You're hemorrhaging it. You're afraid to raise them. Island, thank you for that vulnerability. That is so powerful. Most founders are. I'm going to show you in the 6 steps. We got to move forward because I want to show you this. This is the work that we do to help you. Because when you see your direct costs, again, you realize, oh my gosh, most founders right now, you're paying your clients to do business with you. Most founders, that's the reality, right? Every quarter, you should be adjusting your price. Every quarter. Well, back in the day, it was 2% for inflation. Now adjust it 4 to 5%, right? Every quarter, you should be dialing in on that. Okay. All right. So the next wake-up call, we got to move through this because I really want to show you how you get out of this situation, is the wage that you need. Now, we're not actually going to do this math today. I'm going to show you how to do this math, but I'm going to show you why the math you're going to do when you do this exercise isn't going to add up and why you need to adjust it. So most of you, when you're trying to figure out the wage that you need, you go in and you say, okay, so how much do I need to set aside for savings every month? Most of you haven't budgeted for that, but you might decide to put a number down. And then you're going to budget for your needs. So you're thinking, okay, needs, I've got the mortgage, the vehicle, the insurance, I've got the property taxes, I've got utilities, I've got food, right? Needs, typically your shelter, right? Like Armageddon hits, what are your needs? Like, let's get those down. Then we've got spending on wants, but I'm going to show you the calculator. So don't get too dialed in on this right now. Spending on wants, these are all kind of the frivolous things, right? It's the Netflix subscriptions, it's the Apple, it's the Audible, it's the gym, it's the hair color, it's the nails, it's the, right? Like the eating out, the entertainment, the coffees, like it adds up. This is where most Canadians are overspending. And then we have to figure out how much money do you need to put aside every month to get yourself out of debt. Most people, quite honestly, are just like making enough to, you know, make the credit cards happy, like putting down those minimum payments, maybe a little bit more, but not necessarily clearing off their cards. So I'm going to show you a strategy there. And then, are you putting anything towards investing, right? Including the RESPs for your kids, the education funds, and have you budgeted for sharing? So most of you, what you're going to do is you're going to like add up this math, right? You're going to, oh, okay, so total income needed, I need $7,250 per month. You know what? My spouse right now brings home $3,000. So then in your head, you're thinking, okay, I need to bring home $4,250. That's your rough math. That's typically what most of you are doing. So here's what I want to show you. Now I will share this. And Christina, if you could put in the link again, actually, I'm not going to confuse it, because when you're in the academy, in this course specifically, there is a link that will say join the challenge. So the challenge, I will open this up right now because I want to see exactly, I want you to see exactly what you're going to get when you do this. This is free because of your involvement with Business Link. There is no charge to this. And you're going to, again, you already have it in the academy. The link is going to be right there for you. Sorry, I should have had this open. There is a 5-day wake up call challenge. So you don't need to rush on this workshop right now to dial in on your numbers. There's no way that you could, right? There's just too many numbers to collect. You need your bank statements, you need your credit card statements to do this properly. It actually starts on Friday. Friday at 6:35, 7:35 your time in Alberta. There will be recordings, and all the recordings will be in the academy. So you actually have everything you already need now, but Christina will be reaching out, because if you want to participate live to drill in on all of these numbers, this is here for you. This is so important, because here's what's going to happen. The first thing that we do in the challenge is right here. It's your personal budget calculator. I'm going to just close that, and yes. So most of you, you're going to start off and you're going to put in here all of your numbers. So the first thing, you're going to collect all your numbers, and then you're going to start putting them in. Okay, here's my salary. Here's my partner's salary. Here's the mortgage and the rent, mortgage or rent. Sorry, I'm going to make it bigger. And then you do your property taxes. You know the drill. You're going to be putting in all the numbers that you collect from now till Friday. You're going to enter them into the calculator. You're just going to get real. You're going to see it. And now for the first time, maybe for some of you in your life, you're going to come to the bottom of this little calculator and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, we're overspending by $1,100 every month. What the heck? So then you're going to think, okay, so we need to make that extra money. But I'm here to say that that's actually not the number that you need to make, because many of you, again, you're doing what you can with what you make. You need to know what needs to be done. So in the challenge, this is why we do this work together. You actually have to go through each line item and you're like, okay, you know what? I need to up my, essential services for my kids, right? Maybe there's daycare that you weren't budgeting for. You realize that you need to up your maintenance, that your principal utilities, you bring down your Netflix, you up your fuel costs, you up your repairs, you up your groceries, right? You see what happens here. The other thing that we do is a debt repayment calculator, because most of you are not putting enough money into making sure that your credit cards get paid down. So if all of you now have like gotten into the academy, again, it's free with that code. I'm going to make sure that we have time for you to do that. This calculator is in here. These calculators are free to you, free. They're free. And if we start together on Friday, we do all of this work together. You are going to be so dialed in. You'll be more dialed in than 95% of our population on your numbers. So here you're going to put all your credit card debt, or what we call revolving debt. It'll show you what your minimum payment is. And then this is going to be a I want to vomit moment. But this is what wakes you up, because you're going to see, oh my gosh, if I continue to make these payments, it's actually going to take me 59 months to get out of debt, right? And total interest paid $5,000. Actually, these numbers are really low here. For most people, you're probably sitting at maybe anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 in interest. So all we do here, because I know this number, is I know that we would need to adjust our debt repayment plan to $1,700 per month to get us out of debt in 36 months. That's our goal in working together. You need to know exactly how much money. The only reason why you're not, put it in the chat right now. Why are you not paying down your credit cards? Why are you not, if you are not doing it, why are you not paying down the credit cards? I don't want to vomit. Kasha, yeah. Number one reason, let's light up the chat. No credit, bad debt, no extra money. Number one reason, scarcity, you're thinking you don't have the money. Your business should be making that money for you. Your business can make it for you. You should be thinking about, what do I need, right? Your business does this. You've got to boss up. You've got to be the CEO. You've got to make this happen. No one's going to make this happen for you. When my husband left, I forgot that side of the story. Plus, he survived cancer. All is good. I forget that side of the story too. He survived the cancer. He's still around, but he left in 2017. He left me with the house, but he left me with all the debt. When I did this number, I had to find a way to make $35,000 a month. 35. So no excuses for anyone out there that when you do this math, because this is what's going to happen for a lot of you, you're going to do this calculator and you're going to realize, oh my gosh, at the end of the year or at the end of the month, we're not 1,000 in the hole. We're actually 6,535 in the hole. And then you have to add taxes on top of that. For most of you, you are not earning what you need to be earning. And with all love, the chickens, like we're afraid to go and make our business do that for us. So what's happening right here, I again say it with love, what's happening is that you are not creating this number because you don't know what it is. And then you see it and you're going to be afraid that you can't make it work because there's no money on the other side. You've got, because you don't have the goal, right? There's no alignment with what you need to build. This, I hope, is such a powerful eye-opener for you, because somebody put it in the chat already. Your kids, if your parents, your kids are seeing you and your relationship with money. And guess what? That is going to become their relationship with money. If you can't boss up now for you, you have to boss up for them. The pattern just repeats. Pattern just repeats. We've got to stop it. You've got to, the first step is you being here today, actually getting real and realizing that you need to get real with your numbers. And that's where I want to work with you in the wake up call for free. For free. 5 days for free to dial in on these numbers. Please, I had to go bankrupt. Don't let that happen to you. You will have to do this math at some point. And usually it's either on the verge of bankruptcy, the verge of a divorce, or the verge of a health scare. That's when you have to do the math. There's no way around doing the math. You have to do the math. All right. Okay. That was really kind of Debbie Downer number 3, wasn't it? But sort of like, I just want to you've got so much power in all of you. You're feeling stuck and you're feeling powerless. And it's because you're hiding from this number. Once you see this number, then you start making everything happen. The third and final wake-up call that I want to show you, it's a calculator, and why this is so important is it's how much do you need for retirement? And the calculator's here, and we do this together in the wake-up call. We have just so you're aware, we have a $13.7 trillion deficit for Canadians' retirement needs come 2035. Canadians are short $13.7 trillion, 15 years away. The number one trend that is fueling this deficit is entrepreneurship. Because founders are not putting aside money every month to invest. There's no pension plans, right? Like, we're barely scraping by enough money to get covered what we need to get covered. We don't even have enough for taxes usually at the end of the year. We go to a line of credit, go to a credit card, right? Like, we have the power to turn this around. We have to get out ahead of it. So when you come in to do the retirement calculator, again, we spend a whole drill just on this. You got a day to dial in on these numbers. This is a great exercise to do with your spouse, significant other, over a bottle of wine. Start thinking about, what do we want to live on? All the numbers are here, and I'm going to explain it in the challenge. But at the end of it, when you just put the numbers into the pale yellow area, and again, you already have access to the calculator now, and it'll show you step by step how to do that. But this is why I want you to do the challenge. You can even watch the video recaps. You don't need to join up at 7:35 live every morning. You're going to see this little bottom number right here. I'm going to make this bigger if I can. In this example, retirement deficit of $768,000. 768. Again, it's another get real moment, but you need to see this. The only way you can create the goal is by seeing what you need to create. That's the only way you can do it. So all the calculators show you what you need to build. So here's the thing, is that I was going to stop my share so I could see you all, but I can't see you all, so I won't stop my share, but I will go back to the presentation here. Here's the thing, is that for most of you, you don't even know, you're not paying yourself properly, and then B, you don't even know what your retirement shortfall is. So most of you have built a lousy paying job for yourself that actually isn't even a business investment. It's a lousy paying job, not a business investment. Just think about this before Friday when we do the wake up call. So tomorrow, you get today and tomorrow to think about this. Your retirement shortfall is, so in this example, $738,000. You can build your business into that investment. You can build a business that's worth $738,000. And the number one number that will get you there is your net profit. We have to build up your net profit. Yes, you can bank it on revenues. Yes, you can bank it on assets and equipment, but your net profit is one of the healthiest ways that you can secure a solid valuation in your business model. That net profit is so important beyond just having the emergency net, being able to pay yourself. Like, you need it so that you can actually sell your business in 3 to 5 years and get your $738,000. But you have a decision to make. Do you want your business to be the investment and to pay you, or do you want to just go work for someone because it's easier? Because at some point you've got to make that decision. And I know all of you have the power to build your business into it. I see it over and over and over again. So I want to share some examples with you. This is Candace. Candace is from Regina. She has a business called the Style Academy. She bossed up. And so under her, under ROI for her, she now sees every single employee that she brings in as an investment. She knows if she is going to invest $60,000 on that employee, plus source deductions, plus professional development, that employee is actually going to make her $120,000 back. Her comment is, you might be a solopreneur, but if you're actually going to build a business and an investment, you can't stay there, right? You've got to start hiring people. So it's all about understanding for every single action that you take in your business, whether it's people, whether it's marketing, whether it's you're buying software, you need to know the ROI. If you're investing, Christina and I were looking at HubSpot the other day, right? Like $2,000 a month. If you're going to invest $2,000 a month, we better find a way for that application to make us 6 to 8 back. How's it going to do that? You just dial in on your ROI. This amazing woman, Brady, is actually from Estevan, and she had a rural business. And in the middle of COVID, she took her number, she dialed in, she pivoted, She actually grew her business, she grew her sales, and she grew her bottom line. And what was so cool about her story is that that goal for her, she had a lot of resistance to growing her bottom line because of societal norms, right? Profit is bad, it's greedy, it's opportunistic, it's capitalistic, you know, the big P word. And so what she actually did is and again, she's a boss. Like, she came into this, her personal finances were locked in. She was super dialed in. But with her net profit, so just so you know, what happens with your net profit as it starts to build, it goes into retained earnings. You don't go buy more things with it. It goes into your retained earnings and it becomes your emergency net, your safety blanket. And then you can start investing it back into the business or back into people. And then you actually become a philanthropist. And this is where your impact starts to compound. So with Brady, what she did is she actually got motivated. She wasn't making profit for the longest time. She was just breaking even. And then as soon as she realized, I could take that money and then give it to my church so that they can go and get clothing for the kids at Christmas. As soon as she had the goal and was emotionally aligned with it, she made the profit happen. And it was in 2 months. It's amazing how you need the goal to actually make the numbers happen. And then the third example here, I love these guys. These are Riley and Davey. And Riley went on to work for Futurepreneur, and then he got out and started up his own business with Davey. But long story short, with these guys, I love these guys because they actually exited their business. They sold it. And their motivation for selling it was because Riley got cancer. And then Davey's dad got cancer. Davey's dad passed away. But it was the cancer scares that said, what are we doing in this business? We're going all in. We actually just need to exit. But let's not exit without getting all of our investment back. And so that's what they did. They sold Townfolio and they got their investment back. And now Riley has gone on to invest in other things. It's the same thing with Skip the Dishes. Skip the Dishes, I had an opportunity to work with. I was their CYBF Futurepreneur now was their first $45,000. They took that money, but they were only founders that I've ever worked with that actually said, you know what, we're building a company that we want out in 5 years and we want to get out at $12 million or 10 million or whatever the number was. They knew exactly what they wanted and what to get out of it. They knew what they were building. What are you building your business into? What value is your business going to have? By when? By what impact? For what people? Through what products and services? You've got to nail that in. You've got to nail that in. Okay. Fire hydrant mode. Like, do you feel like I've been like, woo, there's a lot of information there that I really want you to see. I don't want you to know the numbers right now. I want you to see the importance of seeing the numbers and working together in the challenge so you can drill down on those numbers because they are priority number one. When you work on those wake-up calls, what you end up with at the end of the challenge, how much does the business really need to be paying me? And what do I need to build this business into? Those are your two takeaways from drilling down on these numbers through the 5-day challenge. Who gets the importance of that? Can you just share that with me? Can you put it in to the chat so I can see if that's landed with you? And the importance of understanding those numbers. So repeat, how much does the business need to pay you every month? Non-negotiable. And how much do you need to build this business into? What is the value that you need to build into the business? What is the end game? You need those numbers. That becomes your goal and that becomes your emotional alignment. These numbers aren't you being a millionaire. These numbers are just your bare minimums. It's your bare minimum that you need to make because most of you built a business on an insecure financial foundation to start off with. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So what, my next question here, and I'm thinking about time, but I really want you to think about this for a bit, because as I just mentioned, when you do these wake-up call numbers, that is your bare minimum. But I actually want you to start thinking about what would it feel like to be fierce? What would it look like for yourself to actually have a bolder vision than what you came into this call with? So I want you to take a minute. I'm going to time it here. I just want you to sit with that. other than just being financially secure, which is the numbers that we talked about in the wake up call, I want you to actually, I'm giving you permission right now to think about what would a bold life look like for you and your family. Like really just sit in it. Would you be traveling? Would you have a team doing all the work? Would you be taking just a founder's draw out of the business, a reoccurring draw, but the team's doing the work? Would you have a jet? Would you be living in a different country? Would you be sending your kids to a different school? Would you have more time with your partner or spouse, going on dates and having fun? Like just dare to dream here for a moment. Just dare. Just write it down.
I can tell you what one of my dreams was.
Go for it, Linda.
Back to the Martha Stewart flitting through the office dream. Basically, the dream for me was that I didn't want to have to work. I wanted to, basically, I started my second or my third, I guess my third business. So I could be a little lazy because I'm generally lazy by nature. So I wanted time and I wanted to sleep in and I wanted to choose, my days off. And I just wanted to feel like I had control over my time in my life. So that was a big one for me was, they say entrepreneurs work really hard and, it's hard work to be an entrepreneur, but I really felt it was the opposite. I felt that the whole reason I was becoming an entrepreneur was because I didn't want to have to work hard. I didn't want to have to do that till I was in my 50s, 60s, 70s. I understood I needed to work hard for certain points in time, but I didn't want to feel like I had to work hard. So that was one of mine. I know lots of people are sharing here how much, not worrying about how much they're spending, being able to work remotely in the winter. Yeah, be on a beach and be in Mexico in the winter. And I actually have clients who do that. They sit on the beach in Mexico and do their work, from remote locations or Costa Rica or places like that. So, it's not silly to have those dreams, especially when you're starting your own business.
No, this is the thing. You can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. I see a lot of people here holding back on visions, right? Like this was your permission to go bold, right? Jim Collins, big, hairy, audacious goal. Big, like it shows me exactly where your thinking is at, right? And that's why I want to work with you, because I want you to think bigger than you're thinking right now. I think one of the worst things that we have done in this economic system, and Linda, I don't know if you remember 2002, I wrote a manifesto. Like I was angry at this powerhouse manifesto out there. I'm like, this was before 2008 when entrepreneurship was a cool thing, but calling us small business, you are so not small. Like you got to start thinking about your life. You have an opportunity to live it to the fullest. Like dare to dream, because the only thing stopping you is your own mindset. And that's why we get to work together to get over. I was speaking to Christine the other day, and Christina, we were talking about, mindset and how, gosh, there's a lot of coaching that just goes beyond the numbers, right? Money management is one thing, but you have to understand your mindset. We work with you on the mindset to get through all of this mucky middle that many of you are staying stuck in. Like we got to get you getting the goal, the alignment, and the plan. We build it all. So here's the plan. So this is where I don't want to leave you hanging. I want to go through this with you, because once you get out of the wake up call, I can almost guarantee that most of you, you're going to have to kick it up a notch. You're going to have to level up your business, right? Like it's going to be the no more, okay, you know what? We got to do better here. Do better for me, do better for the kids, do better for the employees, do better for the clients. We got to step it up. So here's what we do. This is what we call the plan. We actually build a plan in your business now that shows you how you make these numbers. There was a question in the chat about how does this apply to services? This plan, it doesn't matter if your service, if your product, if you're B2B, if you're B2C, if you're startup, if you're 10 years in, if you're from Texas, if you're from Australia. We have people from around the world that are doing the plan. It's the same plan over and over and over again. It's the same formula. It's the same formula. So Here's what you do. The first thing that you're going to do, and this is what we do together with founders. We call it the financially fierce formula. This is the work that we take founders through. We've worked with over 10,000 since we started this in 2014. We pivoted and we went online last November. I think we've had like 300 people roughly come through the program. This is the work we want to do with you. But here are the steps. So if you don't work with us, I'm giving you the steps right now. Step number one, we build from the bottom. So you have to know your indirect costs. Now, most of you with indirect costs, these are also known as operating expenses. The biggest mistake is that most of you are bootstrapping. You're not paying yourself a fair founder salary. This is where we put in the salary. And then B, you're not accounting for all the real costs. You likely need a team that you haven't budgeted for. You likely need extra equipment that you haven't budgeted for. There's tons that you have not budgeted for. And when you don't budget for them, they come off the bottom line. Our goal in the formula is to make sure that you have a healthy net profit of at least 11.5%. 10% for you, 1.5 for CRA, because we know that you could go and make 4 to 7% for 10 minutes worth of work. So our goal is to get you to 10 to start. Your best in sector competitors are making 25 to 40% net profit. That's why they can afford the people. That's why they can afford the billboards. That's why they can afford the sponsorships. They're building profit into their plan. Most of you are leaving profit as the 4 months after year end. Where did we get to? You have to build it in. So indirect costs, the mistake most founders make is they bootstrap. The second piece is that we're going to dial in on your core revenue streams. What are the top 3 to 5 revenue streams that are going to account for 80% of your revenue? What happens here is most founders will choose way too many revenue streams, and FYI, it's an excuse. It's a crutch. It's a way that you sabotage yourselves to not have to focus on selling. If one product doesn't work, you start another product, then you start another product. It's all ways to keep you from having to go out there and own your value. That's what that is. So we get you focused on your top 3 to 5 revenue streams. Then we actually calculate your direct costs. This is a huge eye opener for founders. I can actually just really quickly, I want to turn you over to this because this is the gold moment for founders when they see this. You are losing all of your money in what we call the messy middle. And it's a mix of your pricing strategy and your direct costs. I'm not going to go into this in detail because it's in the formula and you'll see us cover it again later. But when you actually dial in for services too, this is a service-based package for whoever asked that question. When you dial in on all of your true material costs, your input costs like merchant fees, affiliate fees, commission, equipment, packaging, and then your subcontractors, right? This is what's happening for most of you. You go, okay, well, I'm doing all of that math. And on that revenue stream particular, most of you aren't doing this per revenue stream. It's like, okay, well, it's costing me $661.72 to offer that product or service. So then you come over, yeah, go ahead, Linda.
We have a few people in chat, and I think this is really relevant because I know I ran into this same mental stage and also the same physical barrier walls in my business. And it especially happens probably after year 2. You know, the first 2 years, you're kind of excited and you're building and you're getting your first clients and you're doing everything for everyone. And it's all very exciting. But then you get to sort of this wall. You hit the expansion wall. And I see Jackie and Victoria and Sarah and a few others commenting on that, where they, and I know I would have made this comment too a few years ago. I feel like this is missing pieces. My business is stagnant. And of course, I want to raise my revenue, but I feel like I'm in a spot where I can't grow further without accruing more costs. There's a couple other people agreeing with that as well. And I think that's very true and very valid. That no, you can't grow your business without accruing additional costs. That is absolutely essentially true. There are times when you're going to invest in your business or you're going to have to borrow efficiently and effectively to invest in your business, but you need to set yourself up for that. And you need to take the time to set yourself up so that instead of borrowing from your credit cards and borrowing from your own finances and borrowing from your own stuff, that you're setting up your business so that it becomes lendable to better lenders. And part of the work that I see Tanya doing here with you, and that I've had to do in my own business, was to pivot how I pivot a lot, like pivot how you think about what you're charging and what is the actual price you're charging. And the one thing that was always scary to me to do, and I had a business mentor many years ago, and I remember sitting down with him in Bow Valley Square in Calgary. And I had stumbled across him accidentally, and I had started my new company, and I think he felt sorry for me, basically, which is why he became my mentor. But he felt sorry for me. And one day I was sitting in Bow Valley Square having coffee with him, complaining, oh, all my competitors are so much less pricey than me. And I don't know how I can compete with all these big other competitors. And I'm struggling. And he just told me right there at Bow Valley Square, and I didn't understand it at the time, although I certainly soon did. He said, double your prices, Linda. And I had 101 reasons for him as to why that was just not going to happen. I'm not double, I can't. My competitors are already half my price and blah, blah, blah. And he told me a story about his company. And I won't go into that today, but he told me a story about his company. He said, just try it. So I did. And the next phone call I got from someone who wanted to potentially use my services, and I was pretty brand new. I was about a year old and struggling. I just on the phone quoted a double price over the phone but when I did it, I changed how I sold. I changed how I pitched my product and service. I changed everything on the fly, going, I have to do this because I need to double my price. And the second I did that, and the first person who called said, yep, sounds good to me. And it was like eye-popping and eye-opening to me when that person on the phone said, yep, let's go ahead and do that. But what I learned through that exercise was I had to change how I sold my stuff. I had to change how I marketed. I had to identify not everyone in the world was a client to me. So that person who said yes to me on the phone was a completely different person than the ones who said no to me on the phone. So I had to identify niche markets. I had to identify who would value that higher price. I had to do all of that kind of work too. So while it is definitely about the financials, part of how you adjust what you're doing in your world is also about how you tell your business story to the world. If you have nothing that sets you apart from your competitors other than your price, you're always going to be stuck there. So you need to find, and that's, there's lots of tools on the Business Link website. There's lots of tools that you can download, especially the unique value proposition and some of the marketing tools and some of that kind of stuff that can help you understand how to differentiate your business. And there's lots of great books out there that are easy reads, things you should be building in your business library as well. I can recommend Duct Tape Marketing by John Jantz. I can recommend the series from E-Myth, the Michael Gerber E-Myth series. There's a number of them. So one of the things you can do also is start to build your business library, because when you're working on these important financial fundamentals, you are also going to be pivoting how you market and how you think and how you present to your potential clients. So what makes you unique to your clients is not your price. Unique is the story you tell to clients that they value, because customers don't buy for price, even though they think they do. They buy on emotion. There's all sorts of science and neuroscience around emotional buying. We all do it. So read up on emotional buying, read up on something called unique value propositions, so you can understand how to differentiate yourself from your competition, because those are some of the tools that are going to help you be a little less scared to change your pricing matrices. So sorry, Tanya, I went on a tangent there, but it all comes down to, if you want to make yourself lendable to good lenders, if you want to do that, you have to start to show these items in your financial lines, and some of that's going to require some marketing chutzpah as well.
Yeah. Well, I love that you brought I love that you brought it up. I think there's a couple of really important points there, though, that I want to circle back on. Your your financials. So first of all, to answer the questions about the comments that are in the chat with respect to I need more money if I'm going to grow. I would encourage all of you right now, if you are cash line positive, right? Your income is strong or you're bringing in money, but your bottom line is broke. Your financial model is broken. It needs to be fixed before you bring more money in. That was my mistake. Don't do it. If you are bringing in money, if you're cash flow rich, but bottom line poor, your financial model is broken. The more money you bring in, the likelier the deficit is going to grow. Don't do that. Fix your model. I'm going to show you, this is one founder that I worked with right here. And this is the example that you're going to see. They came to work with me. They were 4 million in annual revenue. They had a net profit of negative 14,000. We went through all six steps, which I want to lock in on before we go, because all of you need to do this work. If you have money coming in, but you have no net profit and you haven't paid yourself, your model is broken. Not more sales is what's going to solve the problem. Don't do it. They came in, we did all the work. Step number one, we figured out all of their indirect costs. We paid them a salary. Step number two, we broke out their revenue streams. In the past, they just had sales, renovations, medium, large, extra large, custom homes. In the past, they just had all their direct costs into sales. We did the example of direct costs per revenue stream, right? And then that informed us what their sales needed to be to actually end up with a $353,000 profit. Their sales went down, their net profit went up. This is a $4 million business. It doesn't matter if I'm working with a $500,000 business or a $25 million business. Where everyone is losing their money is in this messy middle, and everyone thinks that sales is what's going to solve it. It doesn't. It does, and I know it.
I totally
Right?
agree. Like you need to find out what everything's costing you, right? You need to think about what you need to charge, what's your revenue stream,
Yes.
what's costing you, before you can then dive in and say, oh, we need to market all of these things.
Yes.
And that's exactly the point. The point is you need to identify, does this thing I'm making or building actually generate net profit?
Money. Right. Otherwise, you've got choices to make. You can stay in a negative 14%, or you can move into building a business investment. And building the business investment doesn't start by building your sales. It starts by rebuilding your financial model. Because I do want to show you this. This is what's happening to every single founder who comes in our program, whether it's product or service. Here's what's happening. You calculate your direct costs. You think, oh, I'm out of pocket $661. So you think, oh, I'm going to charge $950. That should give me some money, right? I should have a little bit of buffer there. It should be good. You've got the shoulds going on. You're thinking, you don't know. Then you come into the formula and you actually start calculating the true numbers with your labor based on tasks. You realize that you're out of pocket to deliver this product or service $386 in employee wages. You're actually out of pocket $1,048, and you've been selling it at $950. This happens every single time. This is another one of vomit moment for people, right? Christina, Dave did this, and he's like, I've lost $458,000 in the last 15 years because I wasn't pricing properly. Most of you are pricing based on what your competitors are doing. 87% of business owners are going down. So why are you basing your price based on what the competition is doing, right? You've got to know your numbers. So once you realize this, you're like, okay, and I'm not going to go into it, but as an example, you know what? We actually need to charge this out at $1,450 for us to have any hope of this business actually making a healthy net profit. Then we go back over here and we go into step number 4, which is your price for profit. We defend the value together. It's called the weighted pricing model. And we actually go through what criteria is most important to your customer. How do you score? And then based on what the competition is doing, we're able to now defend why you are pricing yourself at $1,450. And guaranteed, it's uncomfortable for everybody. I get it, but it's because you're uncomfortable with your value. You are thinking of selling something. You're actually offering a solution. You've got to start owning that. That's how you defend your price. Then the calculator does all the work in step 5, which actually shows you how you end up with a 10% profit, which will actually show you what your sales need to be. It'll show you what your sales need to be. Here's how many units you need to sell of product A, product B, product C to make the sales so that you can cover the direct cost, the indirect cost, and end up with a net profit. It's called reverse engineering based on your goal. And then at the very end, we actually do a marketing map with you that quantifies exactly how you're going to sell what you need to sell. All of those numbers are in there. So I'm gonna leave it there. What I want to share with you here is that, quite honestly, in my experience, this is the slide right here. You cannot afford not to do this work. You're going to be doing it at some point. It's going to be on the verge of a bankruptcy, on the verge of divorce, a health scare, or you're going to get into this next 5-year period and things are going to get tighter than they are right now. You're going to feel even more stuck. And it's only when that pain becomes greater than the pain that you're feeling right now that you'll be motivated to do the work. I don't want you to do that. I want to let you know that we're here on the other side to support you through doing this work together. This is work you need to do. Now I'm going to show you this because this is work that I'm going to ask you to do if we work together in the formula. You need to know who all your competitors are. So for most of you, we know that this is work you need to do. Where you could turn to get this work done, a bookkeeper, again, their job is to enter in data, but they will help you with people in payroll. Your accountant is to mitigate your personal taxes, but they'll probably help you with your personal budget as well. Your CFO and consultant, really that's the closest comparison we have because they do get into strategy, but they're not going to help you with a marketing strategy and they're not going to help you with your personal budget. And then your financial planners, they do your personal budget, financial strategy, and your debt repayment strategy. But I'm here to let you know we help you with all of it. We do all of it with you. And it's actually only works out to $41.66 an hour. It's $250 a month. That's what it is. And there's so much value here. I just want to let you know there's a solution for you if you feel like it's for you. That's it. I'm not going to sell you on it. If you feel you need the help, if you feel you need to dial in to numbers, I want to let you know that there's someone on the other end that would be here to help you do it. That's why we're here. We want to make sure that you don't go through the pain that we went through. We partner you up with an accountability agent because when you have an accountability agent, 95% success rate, that you not only get your strategy, but that you actually implement it. That is the goal. So if we work together, I wanted to show you this. Because I want you to see this. Today, you've already committed. You're already in the Wake Up Call Challenge. If you've put yourself into the academy, right? And I'm going to come back with our last 2 minutes to make sure you're there because we can catch you on the other side. You're going to do the Wake Up Call Challenge. You'll have your personal budget set by the end of June, 1st of July. You would come in and do your 6 steps in the formula. You lock those down. I'm going to encourage all of you to get that done by September. Usually we give 3 months, but it's at your speed. And then you've got the rest of the year to actually implement the plan. We work with you for a whole year. You implement the plan and you make this happen. You forge healthy financial habits to get you out of being stuck. You've got a goal, you get alignment, and then you've got your plan, and then you just need to get over yourself to make it happen. It's that simple. And we're all here to support you on the other end. There's Christina, our founder experience director. We've got Misha, one of our accountability agents, and we've got Anna, who actually cleans up your books. She cleans up your books and she sets them up so that when you've done the plan, every week you dial in on your numbers and you make your numbers happen. We catch you, and then we even support you with making the sales on the other end. Because the same reason why you're not making the sales is the same reason why you're not managing your money. It comes from the exact same place.
Okay. We have some questions
Let's do it.
on this. We have about a minute and a half to go. Rebecca, I'm going to ask if we could stay on an extra 2 minutes. Couple of things. So a couple of things are, there's also tons and tons if you're a brand new business. So we have a question, is this for new businesses too? Well, I would have to say that knowing your numbers is for anyone starting a business, new, new in it or not. So I would say, yes, this kind of stuff is important for a new business as well. I have inserted a link into the Business Link website as well. We have tons and tons of free resource guides for new businesses, growing businesses, that sort of thing. It's a help you get yourself thinking and motivated with some of our small business guides for free. You can download those. You can sign up for our newsletter. The support from Business Link in Alberta is free to you. It is not as in-depth as Tanya's work is, so we cannot support you in that way. We can help you walk through your numbers. We can help you set up those sheets and those budgets and that sort of thing. We like to direct people to the people who can, which is why this webinar is happening today. We can help you start and think about your business, how you want to think about it. We can help you. We've got a free interactive online business planner. Again, it's not going to go into the financials the same way Tanya is going to go into the financials with you. It's not a fully supported financial plan in that manner. This is important stuff for you to understand financially at the very core of your business. And that's what this webinar is about. But we have the resources, Tanya has the resources. We have webinars from other speakers as well on our resources section of our website. Things to tackle commercial insurance, information you may need to know about, landing Government of Canada contracts, things like that. You can find resources with us. You can sign up for our newsletter so that we can keep you informed about that. Tanya is putting in all of her information. So Christina, on behalf of Tanya, is putting in all the information as well for this session. So that's underway. We have, can this help plan growing a staff too? So can your program help them plan growing staff? I imagine so.
Absolutely. It's, you know what, your numbers, here's the thing, your numbers in the formula, it's your business plan in numbers. You just convert words into numbers, but you start with making sure that you're financially viable, and then you can build your plan around that. So we cover all these things. We do cover, who's the team that you need? What's the right rate for them? How do you cover source deductions? How do you bonus them? How do you do a commission structure? And to that question, like, the sooner you start this, the less money you're going to waste. The sooner you start this, the less costly the mistakes, right?
Exactly. Does this course qualify for the Canada Alberta Job Grant? I
saw that coming in. I'll have to look into that. I'm not aware of that grant. Maybe Linda, if you have any suggestions on who I could connect with. I know in Saskatchewan it has, but in Alberta we haven't set that up yet.
Yeah, the Alberta Job Grant Program in Alberta, I can look up that link while we're finishing this up. But every province delivers that grant differently. So provinces are designated to deliver that grant on behalf of the Government of Canada. And each province decides how they're going to sort the criteria. I'll see if I can look up while we're waiting for this to end the Alberta Job Grant Program and put that into the chat. And that would be something that the Government of Alberta will be able to answer for folks who are looking to qualify programs or some of their learning for that. So I've got the Alberta Jobs Program. I'll take a look at the
and let's not, and I see some comments in here, let's not get stuck in scarcity, right? Here's what I'll do. It's being recorded. And it sounds ridiculous, but all of this is for free with the exception of the formula. If you come into the formula, I will guarantee that you will double your money back on it, right? Like, it's a no-brainer. But there was a question too, just about do we account for spoilage? Absolutely. Do we account for inventory? We have major conversations on inventory because that is cash sitting in your back room. You've got to move it. You've got to turn it over. You've got to understand the carrying costs on it. So yes, even if you're in the hole, we look at your servicing debt, because that's why my partner's business went down. His debt levels were just too expensive. So all of this, I think, Christina, weigh in here, but I think one of the biggest things that comes out of this is just the aha moments. It's like, what? And how all your numbers come together, how it all comes together. Because once you get that, then you're set for life. Then you actually build business after business after business, because you know the model. Then you introduce a new product after product after product, because you know the model, and it's all generating that net profit to help you with your impact. You can't impact anybody if you don't have the net profit, and if you're not paying yourself. You're just struggling. So many ahas.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we are 5 over time. This was a lot to cover today. Any last comments, Tanya, before we go?
You know what, it just come back to the gap. Know what your goal is, get emotionally aligned with it, get the plan. We're here on the other side to support you with that. There's numbers, but they come in small steps, right? It's just take the first step. That's all you have to do. I'm like, just take the first step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Don't let overwhelm be an excuse, right? Just take the next step. We're here to catch you on the other side in the wake-up call. Let's get through the next 5 days and get you dialed in on those personal finances.
Awesome.
All right.
And final note for everyone, slides do not go out, but you have access to the free resources from Tanya. Also, we post this video to the Business Link website. You can go to businesslink.ca/resources, and you will see this up probably by late tomorrow or early Friday morning, so you can watch the recording. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Tanya. And good calculating as you move forward. There's lots to do. Thanks, everyone.
Good on ya. Good job, guys.